He makes his Chiefs debut where his over-under is 4-4.
Oh, 0.5.
I don't know. Rookie wide receivers, notable recent Week 1 performances, Josh put on there. Puka, Jamar, and A.J. Brown all had big numbers. So it's only 44.5 yards. Nick, do you like the over in this one?
Oh, yeah. I didn't really think about it in those terms. I actually will take the under on this if I were going to. I would love to sit here and say, because the notable Week 1 wide receiver performance I was thinking of was Hollywood Brown his rookie year. 2020, Lamar wins the MVP. 2019, Lamar wins the MVP. Hollywood Brown, another late first-round pick, speedster. Yep. That was the 59-10 game against Miami when Hollywood had 4 catches for $147 and 2 touchdowns. And it was just, they just couldn't guard him. And I think Xavier is going to end up being better than Hollywood Brown if he stays healthy. But that's not a realistic thing because that Miami team we thought was trying to lose games at the start of the year. What I do think is going to happen, though, is that because of Xavier Worthy's existence, Rashee Rice's over will hit and Travis Kelce's over will hit. I just think they are going to run so many deep posts or flies trying to clear the safeties out, and between the numbers over the middle of the field, 10 to 20 yards downfield, you're going to have Kelce posted up like a power forward and Rashee Rice running mesh routes or running over the middle, and it's just going to be there. And so I don't expect a monster game for Worthy, and I do think they're going to work him into the offense slowly. Andy's offense, you can speak this better than I can, is complicated and difficult, and Worthy I don't think is going to be on the field as much as people think because he's not going to be out there when they're running the ball. He's not going to be able to block anybody probably his whole career. And so but I think his existence makes the Chiefs offense incredibly dangerous because you have to respect his speed and Mahomes' ability to throw it to him anywhere on the field.
A good starting point for him would be to catch the ball. I mean, that'd be a really good starting point in relationship to the Kansas City wide receivers. Where he could hit this over, to me, would be on one play. And that's why I see it as being one big play, whether it's a go route and I think it'll probably come more on what Nick's talking about, where they run those deep overs, and that's something that Tyreek was always very good at. And they're
best I've ever seen.
They're very difficult to cover because they build speed and they build depth, and it gets over the top of the linebackers. I could see him hitting one of those. I don't think he's going to get a ton of coverage from they're going to respect his speed, so you'll do that. But they're going to obviously try to stop Kelce and Rashee Rice before they deal with Worthy. So Worthy's going to have a couple opportunities.
I don't know. I don't think they're going to try to stop Rashee before they stop him. I think Rashee is I think Rashee is kind of one of the more underrated, effective players in the league. And I just don't think Rashee, they worry about him breaking the game on one play because as good as he was last year, it was 10 yards at a time. Right. You know what I mean? They weren't huge chunk plays.
But I do think just like you said, Baltimore knows he's going to open things up with his speed. He'll open things up for Kelce and Rice in the middle. So I agree with Coach. I think they got to try to take that away. And look, Worthy, I don't think he's going to have a huge game. He could pop. I don't think he's going to get one, but I agree. I don't think he'll have a ton of catches. It would be one, long bomb or something like that. But they're going to do some press coverage on him, I imagine. And Nate Wiggins, the defensive back they drafted, was the second fastest guy. And he looked good in the preseason and he's good in college. Like, he can keep guys in front of him. He ran a 4.28. Worthy ran a 4.21. So if he one-on-one can stay with Xavier Worthy, then that changes a lot of things for him.
And it's hard to run fast when you can't get off the line.
Yeah.
That's what we could have a blooper reel moment, too.
Yeah, of course.
Ravens tonight. Ravens are 3-point underdogs as they try to get their revenge on the champs, even though Lamar said it's not really revenge. Here to break it all down is a special Week 1, Game 1 edition of Most to Gain, Most to Lose. We usually save this for like the NBA Finals,
the Super Bowl. But this is,
special day.
This is interesting.
And let me give a little preface before I get into the 8 people with the most to gain.
Okay.
I have learned over the last few years that there might not be a single more influential broadcast on setting the tone for a season than the Week 1 opening night broadcast with Chris Collinsworth and what he focuses on.
That's actually true.
And People are so. I'm not. This is a compliment to him and Tirico, and
yes.
People are so primed and starved for football. It was a few years ago. Collinsworth created the NHF, not his fault interceptions. We still talk about it. Last year, Jawan Taylor's penalties. Now, Jawan was a highly penalized player, but I think it even primed the refs who were then on the lookout for it.
The fact that he jumped every single time.
Well, that too, but so does Lane Johnson. Nobody cares.
He's not the first.
And
right.
so, for the most to gain, I tried to think about who do I think Collinsworth is going to point out and take a, you know what I mean, make a big jump. So coming in at number 8, one of the most important people in the league this year that no one has talked about, rookie left tackle for the Chiefs, Kingsley Suamataia. So here's what I think is going to happen. I think in the first quarter, Chris Collinsworth is going to introduce America to him. This is the guy Andy Reid has trusted to protect Patrick Mahomes' blind side. They both went to BYU. They had a first-round grade on him. And now listen, it could go the other way for him, but if he does well against that Ravens front, then all of a sudden it's like, wow, the Chiefs have their left tackle on a rookie contract.
I buy that.
Number 7. This one's a little more obvious. Travis Kelce. He lit the Ravens on fire in the playoffs last year. They will show those numbers in the broadcast. 11 targets, 11 catches, 116 yards and a touchdown. And keep in mind, he didn't get to play in the banner game last year because he had hurt his knee right before it. So I think he's going to be extra fired up. Kyle Hamilton, Roquan Smith trying to deal with him. He's at number 7. There'll be some Ravens in a moment, but at number 6, Xavier Worthy. This is going to be another Chris Collinsworth guy. Let me tell you, Mike, this guy's so fast. It's going to be a lot of that. We're going to see the 40-yard dash time, and if there is just one play where he breaks it open over the top of the field, that will be absolutely. And by the way, bonus prediction, I think his mother makes a cameo on the broadcast when they're talking about him. Number 5, Zay Flowers, the redemption arc. You know that we are going to get, certainly in pregame and likely during the game, the sequence of him making the big play to get him in the red zone and then the fumble. And the broadcast will do what all of media has done, which is pretend the fumble changed the game and not Lamar's interception a few plays later. Listen, and they're going to remind people, listen, Mike, LeJerry Sneed not on the Chiefs anymore to punch that ball out. Number 4, Isaiah Pacheco. This will be uttered on the broadcast. This is one of the most underrated running backs in all of football. Why don't we talk more about Isaiah Pacheco? And I think Wild, you're on to something, that the Ravens' number 1 game plan today is going to be, I don't care what Roquan Smith said, don't let them beat us over the top. And the running lanes are going to be open. See if Andy takes advantage of it. And if Pacheco can be the most notable back on the field, because if not, number 3, Derrick Henry, he is going to be a featured star of this game. I know the Ravens hope it, certainly of the broadcast, but also there is, I think, a fair level of concern of, is he going to have the Adrian Peterson post-30 career arc, or everybody else's of the last decade, which is 30 years old, changed teams, numbers have slowly dipped, and all of a sudden you fall off a cliff. He is 4-2 in his career against the Chiefs. All of those games were the Titans. He beat the Chiefs in a playoff game once, the last game they played without Mahomes in the postseason. Could he be the difference? Last year, the time of possession in this game was 38-22. Could he be the difference? I know Brew hopes so. All right, now you're looking at the top 2, and you're like, the 2 most important, the stars haven't been listed, and you are correct. At number 2, Nick Wright. So many banners. There will be, so many banners will be dropped tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yeah, what are you talking about? If the Chiefs win? Yeah, so many banners.
It should be
that's
one
like
banner.
the Lakers dropping the in-season
So they did, and they did.
If they had won other championships.
You know what? And they did. And then at number 1, Lamar Jackson. He's got to get this monkey off his back. He's got to play great against Patrick, beat Patrick. I know they have won the one time, but they've lost a couple times since then. And make Kansas City feel like they have to press all year in the home field advantage back.
Smart.
If Baltimore wins this game and Kansas City's staring at Cincinnati next week, and all of a sudden it's like, oh man, like are we going to be chasing all year like we were last year? I don't have Patrick on there because I don't think he can gain much in a regular season game anymore at this point in his career. So, Coach, those are the 8 people with the most to gain.
Yeah, that's a nice list.
Thank you. That's about as good as I'm going to get from Coach. So, Brew, you want to go ahead?
But I do think the rookie left tackle is a big story, and I know you wanted to pretty much cover every Kansas City Chief
What do you
available.
mean? I'm sorry, there's 4 Chiefs, 3 Ravens,
So I think-
1 broadcaster.
and I do think that is a big story, and we'll talk about that more as the show goes on. But when you look at the Baltimore Ravens offensive line, okay, so you've got 3 guys that are new starters. That's one component of it. Last time they played, it was a very good Baltimore